We are brought to you today by Kai CBD, a Las Vegas-based health and wellness brand that crafts a full-spectrum CBD hemp-derived product line. Made with 100% love, the brand was created by a 20-year licensed massage therapist for her husband who suffers from chronic pain. Healing is what Kai lives for. Head over to their Facebook or Instagram and mention Pop Culture Corner to receive 10% off your order of all or any of their CBD-derived product line. Guys, their website is in the works. Head over to their Facebook or Instagram. The links are in the description below. Mention Pop Culture Corner and get 10% off. This ad is an easy one for me. Easy, as I use the products myself. They are wonderful. So head over, mention Pop Culture Corner, and get 10% off your order of all orders forever. We are brought to you today by Showcase Cinemas Deluxe. Right now, Mortal Kombat is in theaters, and we were live from inside the theater for all-day coverage of the film on April 23rd. Make sure to get out and support your local theaters now. See these larger-than-life movies the way they were intended, on the largest screen possible. Showcase offers X+, which is their large premium format theater. Not only do you see and hear the film, but you become a part of it as well. Find out where your local Showcase Cinemas is by heading to their website, www.showcasecinemas.com. Again, that's www.showcasecinemas.com, or by clicking the link in the description below. Remember, be Showcase safe. Showcase has implemented several protocols to ensure that your focus remains on the film, not on the pandemic, including new ventilation systems in each theater to ensure proper airflow, sanitizer on every wall, and so much more. Enjoy the movie the way it was meant to be, with a night out to the theater. I skipped the bonks ad because I couldn't listen to my voice anymore. I can't do it, man. I can't. It's like so. I don't know.
Can't listen. I like it, man. I
gotta
re-record. It's very soothing. No, I'm gonna have you read some lullabies for me so I can go to sleep at night.
Well, welcome to the morning show, guys. Before we get started, make sure that you are liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it so your friends, family, and enemies and everyone can watch with us, right?
That's right.
We can all have a jolly old time together.
That's right.
Today, we've had guests on the main show, like the Pop Culture Corner, but this is new. So today we're joined by Sam Benjamin, who I just started watching Peaky Blinders. Truly love it. And one of my exes recommended it, and at the time I was like, I don't think that's a show for me. I don't. Yeah. And then I slowly got into it. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. Like just like this really sense of realism to it is truly like it's and it's shot so well. And
I just started it as well, but I love gangster drama and
see that's the thing is I usually in my TV shows and my movies I usually like some mysticism and some like fancy a wizard or a dragon. Yeah.
Like a wizard. I like it.
and it didn't have that. Same reason I don't like Breaking Bad. I don't like I didn't want to like Peaky Blinders, but I'm totally in on it. And with that being, without further ado, welcome to the show, Mr. Sam Benjamin. How we doing? Good to get you back in the right spot.
How we doing? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever anyone is.
Yes.
Literally.
By the way, I remember the first time I saw your appearance on the Lightcast, and I was totally digging like your surrounding, and when I was watching the show, I was saying to myself the whole time, I was like, I like his like little spot right there. I really do. What is that? Is that a sound booth?
Or So I live in like a 40-acre mansion, and this is one of the many sound booths in my mansion that I just go in and talk to my friends, just to even calls to my mum. You got to make sure the sound quality is bang on.
Yeah,
or it could be that actually this is a really cool space that is near to me in London, that I actually hire out. It's like a work group. It's like a bit of a community, and they've got sound booths and meeting rooms and things. So
Really?
yeah, so I just like to, if you're doing something to do with, career stuff, or I'm doing a bit of writing, or I'm doing a
Oh.
video call interview, sometimes it's good to just go to a place that's got a bit more space and has Wi-Fi that is flawless. We all know what Wi-Fi problems are like
Oh,
when you're at
man.
home and you're like, God damn it, like
yeah.
not now.
Tyler knows all about that.
I actually, yeah, man. To like speak on, just to like make a quick joke on myself, is I had that problem for the beginning. So we never really used to do live shows. We're only, I mean, we're approaching 8 months old as a show, but I mean, it wouldn't seem like it from the outside. Like I've made a lot of friends, not to like toot a horn, but we've had a lot of guests on and a lot of great people. And
Yeah.
I've had to like
So don't mess it up, Sam.
Yeah, no. I've had to rapidly like if you go watch a show from, and it would seem like it was 3 years ago. That's like the progression has seemed so. I was actually watching an episode. It was our first time that we had Ray Porter on. I mean, the camera was framed like sideways, not sideways, and like the Wi-Fi was like cutting out. It was so absurd. Like why anyone would ever come back to that, I have no idea. But that's the word, man. Oh God. Speaking of like the Wi-Fi problem hits me real hard.
Right.
But
well, like you were saying, Sam, must be nice to kind of to get out too. I know we were kind of talking before. You've been in London since last year, since the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I mean, it's boring, isn't it? Yes, it's the pandemic. Yes. I've been stuck like everyone else, in ways, and yeah, I think on the positive, things are starting to open up in London. Everyone's pumping the vaccine in.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, everything seems and obviously we have very strong seasons in England. So when spring and summer hit, it's such a difference to people's feel and mood, mentality. The days are longer. People are, more upbeat. So yeah, I'd say there's a bit of a feel good vibe in London at the moment that I'm enjoying.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So, I mean, do you like it there? Like, is London a place where you could see yourself for the rest of your career, or is it maybe a little bit too hard? I mean, London, there are a lot of productions in London, but like, would you rather be in the States?
I kind of see long term. I've kind of got 3 places that I've been to and that I love. My home city of Liverpool. I moved to London out of necessity. I guess the equivalent would be someone born in the Midwest or in Michigan or somewhere, North Carolina, and then they want to be an actor. So you have to go to either LA or New York, or, to an extent now it's a bit different. You've got Atlanta and other places, maybe Vancouver, but generally in the UK. And again, there are places stuff get filmed in Liverpool. They filmed the Batman up in Liverpool recently.
Right.
Yeah. So, but London is still the place to be. So yeah, I've been here for like more or less 11, 12 years. But I'm actually I'm waiting for my green card for America. So so that's where it's been a long process, and it was delayed by COVID. Yeah. So I'm just waiting now on my embassy interview, but the embassy was closed for a long period last year. So I guess, yeah, I'm just kind of waiting on that. But in the meantime, we can only do what we can do, and you can't, it's that thing of you can't affect global events. yourself. So, you know, I'm here for now, and we've got great technology, and, you know, let's see what happens. But I like going where the work is. I've always seen it that, you know how some people love to travel, and they're like, oh, I want to see the world, and they just work a job for 2 years, save up money, then go off for 6 months and backpack around the world. That never really appealed to me. I was always, first of all, I like comfort, and I like cities. So I'm like,
same here.
I don't like camping or outdoors that much. You know, I like buildings and roofs and air conditioning and nice beds and hotels and indoor
right
gyms
there with you,
and
man.
stuff like that. So even though that seems to be unpopular, but I'm here to work on great projects. So if I can travel the world with the projects, that's how I'd like to experience it, rather than go to you know, Brazil on a trip, which would be cool. I'd love it even better if instead it was, oh, we're doing a film and it's shooting in Brazil and you're playing this character and da 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 da. You know,
you're in the Fast and the Furious 19, and you're Dominic Toretto's little brother's cousin. Yeah, let's go to Brazil.
There you go.
So
I like it.
Now, and I've heard you say this before, but I mean, can you tell us a little bit about, you know, how you got started in, like, how do you go from a little kid who, you know, who's thinking about what he might do with his life, to how did it turn into, well, I'm in love with this you know, career path and what I do?
As I've said before, there's many answers to that question, I suppose. Ever since I was a kid, I always wanted to be an actor. It was something that it just instinct, something inside was like, even when I was 3, 4, 5, I had that calling that young. Maybe I couldn't articulate it, but I had that calling. And I think all my childhood, in hindsight, was saved and built on movies and stories and you know, making stories with action figures and sharing movies with my grandmother, with my mother, with my dad, old Hollywood, new Hollywood, 80s action thrillers, all these superheroes, whatever it might be, and they were always my escape. I don't know whether I always say this, but for some reason this film always comes to mind, and the title has escaped me, but I just remember there was many nights where I was about 12, 13, and I was in secondary school, and I hated it, and it was horrible. It was the worst time of my life. And my savior was, I would be flicking, we had 5 channels on my small TV in my room, and I'd be flicking the channels, and at like 11 p.m. I'd land on a film with about Bruce Willis and Sarah Jessica Parker playing lifeboat lifeguards, and then I just would get sucked in, and you know, Bruce would take me on a journey, Sarah would take me on a journey, and then it just made the next day a bit more bearable, and just having that escape. And also every time I watched them, there was something about, that I should be, I belong there, I should be doing that, and I want to be doing that. And then there was the whole thing and I like to tell this element of it whenever I do talks and things, which is, once you know what you actually want to do, that's a blessing. But then the next challenge is, how do I actually do it? And is it possible? And the world probably doesn't want me to do it. And school probably doesn't want me to do it. And parents don't probably think I should do it. And relatives probably think I'm crazy. And friends think that I'm taking the mick. And teachers want me to get realistic, all of those things. So yeah, and I always say, I think I had my midlife crisis when I was 16. Because I remember when I was 16, I was doing my in the UK we do A levels, so the final 2 years of high school you do A levels, 3 or 4 subjects that you specialize in, and then those grades get you into university if that's what you want to do.
See, that is such a, by the way, not to cut you off there.
Yeah, go on.
That is such a good, like, that's a good design, right? Like the last year of high school, it gets you prepared for university, right? Like in the United States, like senior year is the same as freshman year. It's just a different course list. Like nothing ever gets you prepared for the next step in the journey. And like I would have loved to have something like that where, you know, it was a honed in, like focused list of things. Like, hey, you want to become an actor? All right, so you're going to take these 4 classes to get you into where you need to be. Or if I wanted to be a lawyer, okay, well, you're going to take these 4. Like, they're not the same 4, right? But that's how it was for us, at least, where it didn't matter if you wanted to be a custodial arts person or, you know, a fireman, a policeman, a lawyer, or an actor. It's all the same course list. So I think that definitely sets you up for success.
But that's really interesting too, like what you were saying, because I feel like I had a very similar experience. You know, I did acting and film all in high school, right? And by like 16, 17, you know, things like that. And, you know, some people in my family and other people were like, so you're going to like go ahead with this thing, right? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, no.
Yeah.
But, you know, like you said, you don't have necessarily that support, you know, all the time. And you find it in movies, you find it in actors, or like you said, going on these journeys with characters. You know, so what other films for you that kind of like took you out of that space, that headspace of like you didn't have this when you didn't have the support that you needed?
Well, first of all, that's really interesting to hear that perspective on the British system, because people over here would say, some people say it's stupid because it means you're making 15-year-old kids choose specific subjects that are going to narrow their scope to their future.
I could totally see that side of the argument too, though.
But here's the thing: I did history, law, and politics.
Wow.
So because I went to really traditional, they're called grammar schools.
Yep.
And I never studied drama at school because it wasn't offered.
Right.
So I always did it outside of school. But anyway, that's, you know, then, that's another story that goes on. But what was your question again?
No, you know, like you said, like other films that also like, because you mentioned like you're not always having the support, and so you kind of find it in films.
Well, in the end, you know, I don't want to paint. My family weren't like, no, you're not doing this, but they were more of a case of, you know, I've got some parts of my family people would probably describe as middle class. Some people would describe parts of my family as working class. So, and my mum and my dad had never been to university. My mum was my mum still is a hairdresser. My dad at the time was a security guard and then became a taxi driver. So their point of view was very much, you know, unlike a rich parent, which would be, we're paying for your fees, you're doing this. Whereas they were more of the thought of, we've struggled for money most of our lives so far. We'd rather you not have to. So why don't you pick something that has guaranteed salary and guaranteed money and high levels of earning very quickly and more stability?
Yeah.
So they were coming out from a decent place, but then.
Yeah, you can't really argue with that.
No,
it's really hard to argue with that.
Yeah, but they still said, you know, having said that, do what you want. It's your life.
Right.
So, so anyway, back to the films. I mean, where to start? It's like, I'm terrible as well, because when I meet new people, I go, "What's your favorite film?" And they're like, "Oh."
It's so hard.
I mean, I'll just say, like, looking back in the early days, I had different 3 or 4 different like arenas of movies, and one of them was Saturday night at my dad's flat, and he'd be showing me Alien, Predator, Blade Runner, Demolition Man, Total Recall, Commando, True Lies, all of those masculine, Rocky, all the Rockies, Rambo. So like macho action, revenge, thriller with, you know, macho guys saving the day with great one-liners and real
The girl on their arm, and yeah.
and movies that and they have the splash of romance, but they got the grit and they got the humor. So that was and it's very escapism. There's an escapism element to it. And then, but my grandmother on my dad's side of my family, she was called Sheila. She loved old Hollywood, and she would tell me stories. And I wish I asked her more about this, but back in her day, when she was a teenager, it was coming towards the end of, or the end of World War II had happened, and American Air Force pilots would land in Liverpool, and because obviously the Allies were still doing operations or whatever, and my nan would say that she would, on a Saturday, her and her mates would time it so that they ran up to the place where the American Air Force pilots were walking, and they would like pester them to get their standard issue Wrigley's spearmint gum that they had in their ration. And they would basically swipe the gum from the American Air Force men flirting with them, and then they would go and buy a pack of fags, a pack of cigarettes each, and then they would go into and she said there was this street in Birkenhead, which is my home, where I was born, and there was a street with like 5, 6, 7 picture houses, all showing different kinds of films, and we'd choose one, we'd pay the money, and we'd watch a film, and then we'd hide under the seats, and then watch the second film, and we did that all day, smoking the fags, chewing the gum. So just all of those stories, and she loved all of the old Hollywood stars like Gene Kelly and Clark Gable, Cary Grant, all of those guys. And it wasn't until later on I realized my auntie told me that she would write to the stars via the studios, and she had a collection of their headshots all signed.
Really?
Yeah. So I think, and then so when I used to watch films with her, she would obviously be watching more like 70s movies, 80s movies.
Right.
And she loved, like, for example, she loved Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. So we would watch Stir Crazy and See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
And movies like that, which had that, bit more old school. So, and she to me had this, and she was very glamorous. She was a glamorous woman as well. So I'd get the old Hollywood, so I got a real taste for that classic style, and even or like Chinatown or movies like that are really, as my nan would say, just a good story.
Yep.
And like really well written with twists and turns and great performances, and the kind of dudes like Paul Newman, Jack Nicholson, people like that. And then, so I guess those are the two like big influences. And then on my own, because I loved cartoons and superheroes and wrestling, I'd find my movies that way as well. Batman the animated series, the Michael Keaton Batmans, which I watched in the 90s, and so there's so many. And then on Mission Impossible, the first Mission Impossible film, I was really young when I saw that in the cinema. So there's just so many, and it continues on. I think a good movie is a good movie. One of my favorite movies, I love The Shining, even though I'm not really a horror film guy, but The Shining I think is one of the best films ever. But then another one of my favorites is I love Brian De Palma, and I love Carlito's Way. Because I love movies, like you said, the gangster genre, but I love movies about people that have done wrong or are flawed, but they're trying to do the right thing, and there's this really vivid, idealized romance that they want to happen, but it won't happen, and all these kind of things. So, I mean, there's some for you anyway.
Yeah, and so I mean, I saw that you mentioned that. I saw that you mentioned the Batman the animated series. Do you have a favorite comic book character, just to, kind of like an icebreaker almost?
Yeah, it's Batman.
I was gonna, because the animated series, right?
Yeah, I mean he's I genuinely think he's the gateway drug, I think, for a lot of
Oh
people.
yeah,
I think, I mean, obviously you can only talk from experience, but I think especially where I grew up, people that I know that love DC and Marvel, often I mean, sometimes the gateway drug Spider-Man, maybe.
yeah. So I would say they're
Um,
synonymous with
yeah,
brands, right?
but
You know,
they always say those two are the most popular.
exactly.
So yeah, it's Batman, and I think that character is the beauty of it, which many people better than me have described it in a much more eloquent way. But he's a superhero, and he's not, and that's why he's the most he'll always be, I
Yeah,
think, the most captivating. When you look at some of you watch interviews with comic book writers over the decades, and the amount of different stories people have told about Batman, whether you be Frank Miller or Alan Moore or Chuck Dixon or whoever it might be. There's so much room to delve into that, and places to go, and flaws to explore, and different shades to elaborate on. And then in contrast, people like Grant Morrison, who said,
yeah,
DC for
yeah.
ages was saying, can you do Superman? And he's like, no way. He's like, no,
No,
no. And
no.
even though he loved Superman growing up, he's like, no, I can't. I just
Yeah,
can't.
it's just
So it's really interesting. I think. So in a way, Batman is an easier character to delve into, I suppose. But yeah, and he's obviously, if you grew up in the '90s, he was probably one of the most prevalent. You got the animated series, you've got the Keaton movies, you've got Batman Forever, Batman and Robin,
yep.
and then Batman Beyond. So
We just
there was
we
a lot
just
of
did
Batman
like
around.
we just did. I'm sorry. We just did this like where we took all the Batman live action, anyone who's portrayed it in live action, and kind of ranked them and like what our favorites are. I mean, it's harder than you think, but like, yeah, it's not as hard as you think until you get to like number 4, and then you're like, like I was telling him, like pretty much you can make or break friendships at that point. Like if you classify like Keaton as the number 3, or people get really upset with that kind of stuff, and I always think that for Batman especially and Spider-Man, it's because anyone could be them, right? It's because maybe not necessarily for Spider-Man in that sense, but he's a younger guy. People can relate to the character. His
Mm-hmm.
stories are more relatable due to that fact. And with
Mm-hmm.
Batman, I think it's like, oh well, if I just trained hard and got rich,
Got lots
like
of
I
money.
could be
Yeah.
Batman. Yeah. So like I think those are the more relatable things. And so maybe like Captain America or Superman, it's like those are
Mm.
stories that you watch to get lost in a story. Whereas maybe
Yeah.
the Batman, you start asking yourselves, moral questions like what would I do in this situation? And
Yeah.
and I
And
think yeah.
sorry, I was just going to say, yeah. And there's also there's a very like modern, there's like a modern thing that
Yeah.
in recent years where people dismiss Batman and go, oh yeah, but it's only anyone could do it if they were just rich. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you totally don't get a
No.
Batman, because
Yeah.
Right.
that's the other appeal. Even though any one of us could potentially be him, only like the discipline, the drive, the dedication, and the sacrifice is one of the. It's in fiction. I see him as the ultimate human sacrifice in terms of dedication to a goal.
Yes.
Um, so
Absolutely.
so yeah, it's so, but everyone's got their favorites, and yeah, Michael Keaton's the best Batman. So
Right. There we go. There we go. But
This is
yeah, that's a
I'm really shocked to hear you say that. I have written up, and that's like a genuine, like I really am.
that's a lot of people's
No,
favorite
and
Batman.
we had,
I totally understand that.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
we talked about it. It's like some people like
I
when
mean,
they think
look,
of Batman, Michael Keaton pops up.
right.
That's just the
Look,
way it is.
the very first Batman film I ever saw, was Batman Forever, and I was like 6 years. So for me, I go to Val Kilmer. I think
yeah,
whoever
I'm so sorry for
the
you.
hey, I'm cool with it. I enjoy that rendition. But I think that's the cool thing about Batman is like whenever you grew up with him. Obviously, I was born in '97, so I saw Batman Forever in like 2005 when my stepdad showed me.
yeah,
And whatever era you grew up in, that's kind of like your Batman.
Yeah.
So for you, it's
true.
Keaton or probably like Kevin Conroy. The voice of Kevin Conroy is like, that's another one for me that that's iconic, you know.
For sure. And
yeah, and it is. You hear, you know, some people of older generations than us, they say Adam West.
Yeah,
without even delay.
No delay, not even a blink. Responsive, right? Comes right out. And Austin, I had spoken about that in the sense that, you know, back then there wasn't a lot of TV on. Like there wasn't 1,000 channels. That, like, remember you said with your TV, there's 5 channels, and Adam West was on one of them. You know, that show was on one of those channels, and people got to talk about it and sit around with their family and watch it, and it was iconic for them. So, you know, and
you know what else is, if you watch, because I'm fascinated by you know, how things are filmed, and if you watch, because I've got the box set of the Batman TV show, the 66 TV show.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch that show on Blu-ray, the colors on that show pop
so well,
better than shows now.
So well.
And I don't know whether it's because it was on film and in Technicolor, but you watch it and you go, "Oh my God, we really don't make things colorful anymore."
and if they are colorful, it's CGI colorful. It's
exactly.
Generated after the fact.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a great show.
You know, I for me growing up, Christian Bale was the first like Batman I fell in love with. Not that because I was born a little bit earlier than Austin, probably a little bit after you, obviously. I would think so. So I mean, I grew up watching the animated series, was the first thing I ever saw. But Christian Bale was the first Batman like that I fell in love with. Like it truly like was like, that's my Batman right there. And I think it's because I like separated cartoons and live action. Like from an early age was like, okay, this is completely fake, but the movie, I always thought that guy was really Batman.
Yeah.
You know, just
really
innocent. But yeah. So she talked to us about high school and stuff. And I mean, I know the answer, but what was the first role that you got where you were proud of yourself and you were like your first role in like a film or television show where you know, maybe called mom or called dad and was like, hey, you know, like I'm super excited about this and look what I did, and like kind of got to show them like, hey, this is real?
I mean, actually, the one answer would be actually before I became a professional actor, that one of the first role that really got to me and felt like a proper role was probably, it was in a play called Angels in America, which I did at the University of Reading, and it was with an actor called director called Stephen John Atkinson, and it was made into an HBO TV series or miniseries with Al Pacino,
really?
And Patrick Wilson, and I played this Mormon from, I think it was from Utah. Was it from, or somewhere in the Midwest? And he was in the closet. He was married, but he was in the closet.
Yeah.
And it was one of the first times I had a role where I had to do some serious work.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most, and it was a 3-hour performance.
Ooh.
Tony Kushner is the playwright. He just writes this just deep, emotional, vivid, dreamy, raw stuff. And yeah, that was one of my biggest, and that role got me noticed, which then got me into a thing, which then got me to meet Patrick Stewart. So that was one of the big moments. In terms of as a professional, I suppose, you know, my first TV credit was Doctors, which is a daytime medical drama in the UK.
Yeah.
Which has been running, I think, for 21 years. And it was like a guest star role, playing this cheeky lad who he was a pizza delivery boy. And his first line, my first ever line on TV was, girl opens the door, I'm standing there with the pizza, and I look down at the pizza, look up at her and go, large pepperoni. And yeah,
Not how
so
you
I'm
envisioned it, huh?
Right.
Not how you thought about it when you were a kid, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. So but that was that I really that so that was like getting my first TV. That was probably a big step. But then I don't know which role that you were hinting at before. I mean, one of the big moments with my mum was being in Peaky Blinders, because it was filmed literally down the road from her house, at Seacombe Ferry in Merseyside on the docks. And she cheekily asked to be on set, to which I thought, "You're mad. They're not going to let you on set. I'm a guest character. Get over yourself, mother." And then she was like, "No, ask him, ask him." So I asked them, and then the producer said, "Yeah, she can come on." So she came on and was, treated like a queen, seeing her son do the business. So that was a really good moment.
did she get to watch you film that scene?
Yeah.
Oh.
She was, well, because one of the scenes, which was in like there's a big lot, I don't know whether you've seen it, but the Changrettas are trying to escape to America, and the border officer checking everyone's papers going onto the boat to America. And there was like 100 extras there, all queuing up, and the gang are trying to make it to them, and the Changrettas are trying to force their way forward to me. So there was a whole mass of people, but she was in there, but she was on the other side, like looking at the monitor, seeing what they were filming.
Right.
And when we filmed it, I actually had like a bit of a speech that the border officer did to all of the people trying to get on the boat, but they didn't really use that in the show. But my mum got to see me do that. So giving this speech to like 100 people, for a BBC Netflix show. So that was cool. That was a great moment. And the other great moment, obviously, was calling my dad and telling him I've just got a part in a film that has Batman and Superman in it.
Yeah.
That was when he was like, "Oh, okay,
right,
okay," because I could tell him I'm playing some really deep emotional role in this great piece of drama.
Right.
That's da, and then he'd be like, "Oh, okay." But then if you tell him, if I told him, it's like, if I would have told him, "Oh, Dad, I'm going to be in a film with Sly Stallone," he'd be like, "Yes, he's made it. We're doing it." Whereas if you said, "Oh, I'm the lead in Downton Abbey on BBC One 9 p.m."
Yeah,
you probably would have gone,
like, "Oh, great job." Yeah.
Oh, is that that one? Is that one where they're all posh? Oh, yeah. I know the one. Is the one in the past? Yeah, I know the one.
Yeah, that's such a fatherly response. I love it.
Yeah.
But I mean, so you're relatively and that's the thing I think people forget is you're still relatively young in acting, and you have such a great career ahead of you, and I'm really excited to see where it goes, and how you progress through the years, and I know that you have the talent, and we'll be seeing you in a lot, when the future rolls around, or when things kind of get back to normal, because I've always been really impressed with the things that I have seen with what you can do, and like the depth and the performance that you can give. So I think you have a great career ahead of you. And what was
Thank you.
That
means a lot. That means a lot, by the way.
Of course. And it's nothing I'm not just saying it to like kiss your ass or anything, but in reality, like
I'll give you the $100 after the show.
Yes. I was watching your film reel. I think it was last night, and it was in something I hadn't seen before. You're in like a chopper, and you have and I was just like, look at this guy, like you had me go interested in a scene from something I've never seen before, and I was like, I kind of want to know more about that, because you kind of you took me in a little bit with the realism of it. So
cool, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And what's cool is you've garnered this cool little fan base too. Like people really enjoy your work. I was seeing I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but I watched some pieces of it.
I'm not in Blackadder, whoever said that on the screen.
Right. Yeah, wrong guy. But I saw pieces of the I Am Vengeance film, and you have that little role in there. But but people really responded. Like people are calling for like a spinoff, with your character from that film and stuff. So you've garnered to this little fan base that I think is pretty cool. Which by the way, is that something that you would do, like a spinoff of that type of character in that role and do something like that?
Yeah, for the right price.
I was gonna
say. Yeah, I Am Vengeance, Retaliation, which if anyone wants to watch it, it's on Netflix in the UK and the US. It's a cheesy throwback British action movie with Vinnie Jones and WWE legend Bad News Barrett, aka Stu Bennett, and I play a cheeky, flirty Black Ops recruit called Shapiro. One of the really fun things about that film, aside from that brilliant cast, was I was working with Phoebe Robinson Galvin, who has her and my character were kind of like had this banter. Like I don't know what it was, but it was like a really fun dynamic. Because we had that on set anyway, and we really wanted to bring something with those two characters. So, and the Variety review, which is the thing what you're referring to, the guy said, "Oh, they should have made more of those two, and it'd be great to see a spin-off with those two." So yeah, I mean, it'd be great. I'd love to work with that team again, shoot some guns and kill some bad guys.
Yeah. How is Netflix as a studio to work for? I mean, so were you working with Netflix?
No,
on that one, did you say?
It's on Netflix. It's on Netflix US and UK. But Netflix picked it up after they made it.
Oh, okay. It's one of those situations.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's a very fun, kind of like you said, it's I love like, kind of like the old action films and like the Expendables and it's got that type of vibe, very fun.
Yeah.
So it seems like it's something that you probably enjoy doing, very kind of light set, even though it's action and all of that type of stuff. It's still very, like you said,
it was a dad film. It was a very dad film.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I like how you brought the circle back there.
That's right.
So, I mean, to get into a little bit, how was it on that day or whatever couple days it was on the set of Justice League, like, and being able to work on a film with, a Zack Snyder film? Like, it must be like almost like a dream come true as somebody.
It was a total dream come true, and I still remember being in the car, getting picked up and being driven into the Warner Brothers studio, and then just the first time you see the WB logo, a logo that to me, just whenever I see that logo, I get these flashes. I get like it's like I get a sizzle reel in my head of the WB just before Looney Tunes, and then the WB on the back of the Prince Purple Rain album, and then the WB that came at the end of ER and Friends on a Thursday night with my mum, and then the WB that morphed into the Searchlights in the Batman animated series, and all of those things just were like whoa. So yeah, that was fantastic. And I remember when I went, because they took me on early to like, it's dead funny when this happens. They bring you in to give you a haircut, and then your character is like wearing a helmet the whole time. So it's like, all right, well, that was worth it.
Free haircut, man.
Yeah, they brought me in to do a haircut, and then I remember whilst I was getting my haircut, on the side there was a makeup bag, a big makeup bag, and a wig, and then on the makeup bag it had like one of those white printed labels, and it said Aquaman. And I was like, oh, okay.
All right. Aquaman's hair. That's awesome. That's awesome.
So that was cool, and so yeah. So and then obviously being on set, it was like obviously you were anxious because there's a lot of waiting around, and you don't know. As I've said it before, you don't know what kind of. Even though I'd heard good things about Zack, I didn't know what the vibe was going to be. Was it going to be very business-like and just, let's just do it, and oh hi, yeah, you stand there, here are the lines, let's do it. But it wasn't like that. He was absolutely brilliant. He made time and took a moment to welcome me, and all this stuff, and it was just a pleasure watching him work. It just really was. And
Yeah.
because actually the other thing is, I don't know whether I've said this before, but even though you audition, like I never at any point got a full script or anything like that. So coming onto set, you're kind of
in the dark
in a way.
Yeah.
So you get there, and just because it's also top secret, and obviously if you're not in the whole film, then they're gonna keep it all under wraps. So it really was a case of, it was almost quite improvisational the way Zack knew what he wanted, but he would come in and tell you what he wanted, and then he would say, oh, so because obviously in the film I'm literally in it for a flash, but there was a bit more to do on the day. There's a bit more things with Silas helping him evacuate the place, and just a nice little exchange with him. And for that exchange, it was really natural and improvised. Zach was like, yeah, so you come here, and then what? Then maybe you say this, and then what would you say? And then we go, oh, just give it a this, and then oh yeah, that sounds good, and that kind of thing. So it was really relaxed, but also very focused at the same time. And yeah, it was brilliant.
And here's the thing about like a Zack film is nothing, especially in that specific universe, right? As of right now, whereas things are so up in the air, things have been changed, things may happen, they may not happen. Nothing is ever a guaranteed no. Like we can't know exactly what happens in the future, right? Or like who becomes who, what's what. Like we're still very much new to, we're only 3 movies into his technical universe, so like the sky's the limit. Who knows what happens in the future, especially now that he's had to, if he were to continue it, he's changed things because he can't use the original story. So we don't really know, like there were these like nice little fan campaigns and all that, all the stuff that happened, but we truly just don't know what happens next, because we just don't. That's how Zack is, right? So no one knows unless you're like Ben Affleck or like Henry Cavill, I suppose. But that's the beautiful thing, and that's what I love about him. Are you would you ever work with him again, like say maybe in the Army of the Dead universe?
Absolutely not.
No, he's a terrible guy.
No way.
No way. I mean, I'm excited for Army of the Dead. I don't know if you watched the trailer for it. Woo!
I have, yeah. No, obviously, yeah. It'd be it's on my it's on my to-do list to work with Zack again. And it's this whole journey with the Green Lantern stuff's been crazy, and as I've said before, Zack is he plays his social media game like a movie as well. So the whole thing's been really fascinating. But and even though I didn't really work with a lot of different people on, because I was only on it for a brief moment, but even I've connected with Christina Wren and Wayne T. Carr, who we just found out was Jon Stewart,
right?
And just everyone that works with him, there is a real sense of like a family vibe. Yes. So that's one of the beautiful things about it. So I'd love to, and obviously it's one of those where as an actor, very often you are, which is the hard part, is very often you do what you can, and then you have to have patience, and you have to let creators and artists find the thing that they think you're perfect for, and that's what Zack does really well.
Right.
So
who knows? A couple years from now, he's like, "Hey, I'm doing that Army of the Dead sequel, or that movie set in the universe." And I remember that guy, Sam, who was really talented. And then it goes from there. So I definitely see what you're saying there.
Yeah, that trailer looks crazy. It looks crazy.
The zombie tiger.
It looks crazy. Yeah,
like, and hopefully be a nice chance. We were talking about you get to come to Vegas. So
Vegas, baby. Vegas. I've never been, so I'd like to. Some of those. Well, are they called zombies in it? Are they literally called zombies?
I don't know if we know yet, but
I don't know if we know.
But they look. Dangerous.
Very
Terrifying.
dangerous. Very dangerous. So
Dangerous,
what's next for the actor Sam Benjamin? Like what's going on what's happening in the future?
So
if you can say, I don't know if there's things that you can't say.
Yeah.
On IMDb,
don't worry, I've learned that lesson.
There's 2 listed right now on as they're in post production. The Cloaking and Screw Job.
Yes.
So I don't know.
So I filmed a part in a web series, a sci-fi web series called The Cloaking, which is the basic story, which the creator might hate with my description of this, but the basic story is there's a new science technology which enables you to manipulate your DNA signature to disguise it as someone else. Mm-hmm. And then the technology gets out into the world, into the hands of very bad people, and that sets up the series. And I play a hotshot American agent who is on the case and is trying to break one of the witnesses down. Mm-hmm. He's called Agent Sawyer. So that is, I don't know when it's coming out. It's some point this year. It'll be a web series. I don't know what platform yet, but it'll be like 10-minute. I think it's about 6-10-minute episodes. And that was directed by Sam Bradford. And then The Screw Job is my short film set in the world of professional wrestling. It's about a single mother pro wrestler who's got injuries piling up, and she's always felt like she was the best, but she's never been given an opportunity to win the belt. And something happens, and she's got a big dilemma about whether to play the game and play ball or whether to go off script, shall we say.
Right.
So, and that's it stars Eloise Lavelle Anderson, and I am directing it, wrote it, and starring in it. So cool. I'm on that Ben Affleck, Bradley Cooper vibe.
So that's awesome. Yeah, it's your directorial debut, right?
Yeah. So and we've just literally it's been picture locked. So this week we finished our final cut, and next we're on to sound and ADR and grading. And I've just been I think I've found the music tracks that I'm going to use in it from a really couple of cool bands. So so I'm really excited by it. It's got like a working class tragedy vibe to it, but it's also got a sports Rocky 3,
right?
Vibrant, glossy vibe to it as well. So it's very much a lot of my influences. So yeah, and I don't know what basically because it's obviously I'm new to the directing game, so I'm just focusing on making it the best I can, and then fast forward. Once it's ready to rock and roll, we're going to be submitting it to a few film festivals, and hopefully we'll get. I mean, usually with shorts, what you try and do is you try and get it into a reputable film festival, like a Sundance or a Raindance or a BFI festival, or Berlin or Cannes, and then you hope that one of the big ones pick it up and they go, yeah, we'll show this in our short film section, and then hopefully we can turn a premiere into that, and hopefully people will be, as your advert said at the beginning of this, people will be able to come to the cinema to watch it.
Yeah. So for the 2 that you just mentioned, right, the web series and then your own short, like those are becoming like people really love that kind of stuff, especially especially the web series that you were just explaining, the sci-fi web series. Like I can't remember what network, or it's like an online network now, or it was, but they used to do these like really like high budget sci-fi.
Was it Machinima? Something like that.
Something like that, yeah. And I used to. They're all shorts, and they're all like little series, like and you would be so shocked at the production level of these things. And some of the best stories I could even still quote now, like some of the best little sci-fi shorts I've ever seen came from those. You know, not some big budget Netflix show or big budget Warner Brothers movie. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and I truly love it. And I think they're becoming more, you know,
more
people
common,
love
more
them.
prevalent.
People love them. They're short, they're quick, they're good, right? So I can't wait. I can't wait for that.
Yeah. Go on. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, yeah. So I mean, those two. It's like what I said before. As an actor, you know, that Ben Affleck vibe is, you know, as an actor, you got to be patient. You got to wait for the opportunity. You got to hope that the Zack Snyders or the Clint Eastwoods or the Catherine Bigelows of this world go, oh, actually, I can see him doing this in my vision. And then, but in the meantime, you know, I don't like to sit around and wait. I like to create my own stories and tell some stories, hopefully inspire some people, give people an escape that other people gave me. And so whilst those are happening, I've been doing quite a few auditions. So fingers crossed, you know, something will come from that as well.
So can you give Prakash any? Well, how's your workout going? And could you give him a tip? Some tips.
Where to start? They're going well. They're going really well. And the key is just get into the gym or get your weights at home and do 4 or 5 sessions a week.
Yeah.
And it's all about what you eat as well. That's the key. Not that I'm an expert.
Right. It really is. It's a balance. It's a balance between diet and dedication. And dedication, man.
Yeah.
So I know you have you have another show that you got going on.
I've got to go. I've got to go in a bit. So if there's any last questions or anything, maybe. Let's do it.
Yeah. So I mean, we could just do, you know, final thoughts or something like that. Is like I had said before, I can't wait to see where your future goes and where your career takes you. And is there any like is there anything, any role or any like character you think you were born to play? Like, for instance, like Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool, you know, like, you know how he was almost born for that role. Is there anything that you could see yourself like I would nail that, I would kill that role, give it to me, even if it was
most of them.
That's the right answer. That's right. That's right.
I think there's loads, and I couldn't really pick out what one, but what I will say is probably what I've said before, is that, you know, you start to, the more you act, the more you learn what you're good at and what you can channel. And I think you know, I like playing roles that have that maverick spirit. That's what I like, playing those kind of characters who maybe they're a bit too cocky, maybe they're a bit too flirty, but there's an underneath, maybe some kind of darkness or pain that they're overcompensating for.
Maybe you are Hal Jordan, man. Maybe you are, dude. Come on. That's literally that defines who that guy is, by the way. I'm sure you know, but that's who he is.
And you know, and it's like, well, it's kind of like it's like, you know, Tom Cruise in Top Gun. It's that energy. But and Ryan Reynolds has, you know, has that kind of vibe too. But I mean, that's what I love. It's like right. People go and watch Iron Vengeance on Netflix, and they'll see you know, the character and I play, someone called it a flirty happy warrior. So I like delving into those characters, especially if they've got a bit of depth to them, and they get found out, or they have to change, or they have to figure out how to use, you know, a lot of people talk about, you know, toxic masculinity at the moment, and
right.
I think that is a thing. And then, but I think the nuance is that it's acknowledging what about masculinity is toxic, recognizing it, and then also realizing other masculine values that actually elevate you and others as well. So it's something, you know, those kind of thoughts, or you know, it's good to explore those when you're playing characters, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, maybe after your directorial debut, your Ben Affleck style, you know, acting, directing, writing, we could have you back. I would love to have you back sometime, talk more, and get to know you a little bit more, and how that went. So,
awesome.
Sam, thank you for being so gracious with your time. And I truly wish you the best in your endeavors.
Thank you.
We'll
and thanks for having me on.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
of
thank
course.
you so much, man. We appreciate
Always
it.
welcome here. So have a great rest of your day, and we'll do this again sometime.
You too.
All righty.
Awesome.
Do you know how to take yourself out, or do I take yourself out?
The awkward moment. We're live. Are we still live?
I got you. I'll take you out. Ready?
Take me out. Bye.
So now I'm gonna boot him from the studio. I'm gonna ban him. No, it's a kick from studio. There we go. If you want to prevent this person from rejoining, you should ban them. It says.
Oh my gosh.
No, that was a really fun time, man. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, and there was a lot we barely even covered. You know, he's a writer too. He's written a lot. So very talented guy.
Usually what I'll do is for the first time we'll just do like the base surface level stuff. And the second time we'll like really expand upon like, because you don't want to ask the same questions twice, right? So,
right.
What we do usually the second time around is like, all right, well now let's get into like who you want to be, what you want to be, who you see yourself as in the future. But I had a great time. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about. I probably got like 20 minutes left, probably, maybe.
There's a few things I can talk about for hours, Tyler, that happened yesterday.
All right, well, kick us off then, big boy.
Cool. All right.
I'm gonna fill my coffee. Actually, can you just like
rant? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, great. So, guys, as probably all of you have heard, seen, know, and we did touch on it yesterday. WB released, for some god unknown reason, a 4K trailer for 2017's Justice League, which really confuses me because I actually thought that movie was already in 4K, and I don't like really understand why. Anyways, they put a new trailer out for Justice League, the 2017 cut, 4K, using footage from Zack Snyder's Justice League, the ultimate final slap in the face. It's been a big debate, literally the past 12 hours. Is the Snyderverse done? Is it over? Has Warner put the nail in the coffin? Yesterday, fans were freaking out, commenting on Vero, and even Zack Snyder, for one of the first times ever, commented and said it was crossing the line, taking footage from his film, putting it in that 4K trailer. So I don't know what to think. Obviously,
move, by the way.
Huh?
What a scumbag move on Warner Brothers' part.
Oh,
like it's so it's a tragedy.
So low.
But you know what? They do own it. They own that. They own. I mean, so the studio. You know what I mean?
They own.
Like,
yeah.
They own the footage, and
sure.
It's like I did a little. So I'm doing these like little Instagram. Or I'm trying to do them.
Right.
Instagram
I saw
updates. And I didn't even have too much to say on that because like it's a huge joke in general. About the DC fandom stuff. And
I think
I'm gonna be doing more of those, but
yeah, I think it's pretty telling. They released that trailer the same day that they announced DC fandom, which has no mention in over a month of Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear what Warner Brothers wants.
Yeah.
Terrible. And also at this point, I'm kind
of.
What
did Zack say? What did Zack say about it?
Huh?
What does Zack say about this?
He said it's crossing the line.
Ooh, he said
crossing the line. Yeah, and so which for me actually, I'm a little excited because I'm like, okay, maybe if this is all over, I'm ready for Zack to like come out, tell all, be like, these guys suck, they're the worst, or even I don't know. He probably can't do anything legal because, like you said, they own the footage, they own the characters. But that'd be great if he could. There's just, Zack's been very restrained through all this. Last night was definitely, he's done little hits here and there. Obviously, he did the Netflix thing, make it longer, and talked about how Netflix, gave him freedom and stuff. But this was definitely the real jab.
This is the thing. This is what I've been saying. I've been saying this for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Like Yeah, it might be cool for us to get the story finished, and it might be cool for Zack to finish the story. But do we really want to make him go work for these people again?
No,
That
I'm sorry,
is
I don't.
like as a fan base, right? We cannot expect that would be like if your boss like if you were working at
Like you're asking somebody to go to war again.
yeah, and so it's like let's just pretend here, right? It's like you worked at Burger King and your boss was mentally and verbally abusive to you,
Yeah.
and then you left, but they realized the Whopper wasn't made right after you left. So now you have to go back and you have to keep making that Whopper because it's what the consumer wants. No, no, that's not how life works. So, for us to be asking him to go finish that story, first off, we have to ask ourselves, do we want him to go work in that environment again? No. No. He's happy at Netflix, clearly. So I don't know if it's, the Snyderverse it's great. I love it. I love all the stories. I love all of the Snyderverse. I really
think
do.
If anything, we should move our efforts to petitioning and calling on Warner to sell in DC. I think there's a lot of fans that would agree. They have insulted the fan base with what they've done to these characters. Outside of Snyder's verse, like
I think they're too greedy. I think they see too many potential dollar bills. They will never allow them to sell it. But maybe if Netflix came with what did it sell for years ago? What did Marvel sell for? I think Marvel's a different story because they went bankrupt.
I think Prakash is still pretty
oh yeah, he's hardcore on this thing.
Pretty determined, man.
Hal Jordan. Dude, the guy would be a great Hal Jordan, not gonna lie. That's why when the theory started spouting, I was like, okay, I honestly could see this dude as Hal Jordan. I really could. And that's no joke. He likes to play the characters he usually plays are ones with military background. So or some, background. So I really do think that he could be a really good Hal Jordan. And he's young.
He looks the part for sure.
He's fit. So I don't know. Maybe Warner Brothers should think about that for the future. If they want to win us over in some sort of way. But yeah, man, I don't know about Warner Brothers. If Netflix came with maybe a 10 billion price tag, I think that's a serious number. 10 billion. $10 billion, and we'll sell you DC as a whole. All projects in the works, all projects that are running currently, and all past projects are owned by you now. $10 billion. That's probably what they would say yes to, because that's an outrageous price tag.
You're probably right, but still,
because they base that stuff on future revenue as well.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's a factor in it. It's like, well, how much money can we potentially make over the next 50 years with DC?
And Netflix would make money.
Yeah, because Netflix would do it right.
Money.
Well, you know what? That's also not true. Because when Warner Brothers started off as a great studio. I don't know if anyone forgets this. But it's when they get it's when they grow so large that they start getting like that. And Netflix is almost at that point. Hopefully they don't go that route.
But see, that's the thing. Warner Brothers used to be Netflix. Warner Brothers was the home of the filmmaker. It was the home of the Christopher Nolan. All these other people. Christopher Nolan, I mean, my gosh, they banked on him, on his original ideas, gave him, WB Blows, exactly. Gave him ridiculous money, for his original ideas, knowing it was going to bring in $1 billion. Now, Chris Nolan is talking
10 billion
to
is actually way too. Oh, 10 billion is not even enough.
Yeah, 10 billion is not enough.
Oh my God, it's not even.
We're talking like 50 or 100. But that's the thing. Chris now is now talking to Netflix. He's talking to What does that say about Warner Brothers? Zack Snyder, Chris Nolan, Martin Scorsese, all of these massive studio directors, the Russo brothers, all these guys are coming to Netflix.
Right. And I don't think that's I think that's on purpose. But stay right there, guys. Don't worry, we're staying around. I do just want to give a quick shout out to our two new Patreons. our 2 patrons, and all the other patrons. This is a new program for us, and we're finally at the number 6 for members. I'm trying to get to 10. 10 is the magic number. That's when I can start doing some crazy stuff. But thank you, Caden. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Billy. Thank you, that one, Carlos. Thank you, Adam. And thank you, ODD, or Odd. I always forget that. But you guys are the lifeblood of the show, and you guys make it all worth it. And to everyone who subscribed, you guys are all make it worth it as well. And here you go. We are brought to you today by Bonk's Bar in Philadelphia. Bonk specializes in seafood and good times. If you're in the Philly area, make sure to stop by, and on Tuesdays, our resident producer Jack hosts trivia at the bar. Mention Pop Culture Corner to Jack and receive your first drink on the house. For more information about the menu or specials, visit the website for Bonks or their social media pages. All of the links are in the description below. This was an easy one, guys. Head out, support your local service industry. Go to Bonks, grab some seafood, some beer and wine, play some trivia, and have a good time. Who's that sexy beast saying those with those ad lines? Jeez.
Oh yeah, come get yourself a drink.
Come get yourself a drink, baby. Yeah, no, So, when you said that yesterday, the Netflix buying out DC, that would be like this dream come true. Literally.
Oh yeah, fantasy.
Yeah, so I owe ill life.
But hey, people
listen, integrity. Hold on. This is actually hurts me deeply. I'll owe ill life a beer when he shows up to the shows from now on, because he used to be here every single day, and I don't know what happened, but he's been slacking on that. So I'll give you a beer. I'll buy you a beer, but ill life can come get one. I play his music at the end of the show. I featured his music. I thought me and him were pretty good together, man. I thought we had a good relationship, but I don't know, man. He doesn't want to come around anymore, I suppose. But no, I'm just kidding. I love him. He's a good guy, great guy. But yeah, I would be integrity. Are you from Philadelphia as well? And we, by the way, we love having you here, especially as well as you, Prakash, as well as Zebrafet, Billy, Adam. I know it's early in the morning. Today was especially early in the morning.
Right, for the interview. And then Hussein, you guys are all pretty cool. And I love having you here. No, I'm playing with you, bro. So Philadelphia, right? Oh, local guy, yeah. So, he's a local guy. There you go.
But yeah, so what do you think about this whole DC fandom thing? Are you gonna watch DC fandom? I'm gonna watch it.
I'm gonna watch it. And look, I'm not one of those types that I'm not gonna watch DC. I love DC characters. Like at the end of the day, it's the characters, for me that matter. And so I'm gonna watch it. I may not like it, but the fact is, I grew up with these characters, so yeah, I'm gonna end up watching it.
Yeah,
I really hope, and me and Jack kind of talked about it yesterday. Spotlight is all on the Flash for DC fandom.
Yeah.
That's gonna be the big that will be the make or break film for DC. That will literally either keep hundreds of people around, or thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people around, or get rid of hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah,
it seems like from what it's sounding like on Twitter.
I mean, I think it's gonna be a good movie
where all wars take place.
That's just me.
I mean, I do too. I enjoy Andy as a director. I enjoyed the It movies, and he seems like a cool guy. I hope the best for it. Yeah, bringing in Supergirl.
Supergirl's a local girl. She's from right up the street from me.
Oh, really?
She actually lives like her family house is literally right up there, like down the street.
What?
Yeah, Sasha Kaye. She's from Boston. Well, she's from right in my area, like right down the street.
Yeah.
So that I enjoyed seeing her as cast as Supergirl, because that's another homegirl in the DC universe. We got Ben Affleck and Sasha now, so
right.
Boston.
Boston Strong. There you go.
But the Keaton thing, right? So he says, I love Keaton and I want to support Flash, but I'm so angry at WB. I think I'm gonna promote it. I'm sick of WB's bullshit. So that's another thing. Is people are so torn on the Flash because it's got a Snyderverse character in it. It's got a couple of Snyderverse characters in it, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna end up seeing Wonder Woman. I think we'll get cameos from Wonder Woman and anyone else.
Aquaman?
Maybe Aquaman, yeah. Like the Flashpoint storyline. I know they're not adapting it directly, but there'll be hints of it. We would have hopefully, I wish we would have saw Ray Fisher Cyborg in there. He's a huge part of that Flashpoint storyline. If you're gonna pull anything from Flashpoint, I would think it would be that. So these Snyderverse characters are in it, but it's directed by Andy, which is no surprise. All the other solo films are not directed by Zack. So why are we treating this one differently? So unless in the film they try to retcon Zack's universe entirely, then I'll have a problem with it. I'll walk out of the movie theater at that point. I'm serious. If they try to if even I get a hint of them erasing Zack's universe, I'll stand up and I'll walk out, and I'll wait for home release because I can't support that. I can't support that. If you leave the door open, however, that's a different story, right? But don't close it entirely. So
exactly,
that's what I have to say on the matter.
Yeah, I agree. I will say I'm excited for Keaton. That opens the door for
Batman
obviously
Beyond,
a very separate universe.
Yeah.
Right, very separate universe, and I think that's fine. But I swear to God, if they're just using Ben to lead to that and then get rid of Ben, I'll be pissed.
No, and that's the thing. That's another thing I think we got to remember is I don't think Ben would sign up to do something like that.
I don't either, but that's what people are claiming.
I don't think Ben would read the story and be like, "Wait, you're trying to kill Zack's universe?"
Right? Yeah. No.
Not pimping. I'm sorry, I can't sign that contract.
Right.
If you're gonna kill me. I won't be here for it though.
Exactly.
So yeah. I don't know. I guess the future is. You're right. Yeah, most eyes will be on the Flash. I think a lot of eyes will also be on Black Adam. I'm really excited for Black Adam. That's the reason I personally can't boycott DC because I am gonna go watch the Black Adam. And if you're boycotting Warner Brothers and DC, that means you're also boycotting Black Adam.
Yeah.
So don't get it twisted though. You can't see one and not the other, or you can't boycott one without the other. So be conscious of what you're doing. I support you in whatever you do, but be conscious of what you're doing because don't be a hypocrite.
And look, at the end of the day, guys, Warner Brothers are making these movies and stuff, but again, I don't know about you guys. For me, I fell in love with these characters on a panel, not on screen, and so.
How many times are we going to use that line in 1 week, Austin?
All the time, man, until it's overdone and overused. That's how. But seriously, like I do keep going back to that because it's like they can keep messing it up and stuff, but at the end of the day, like I still have love for the character. I still know how the character is supposed to be portrayed and stuff, and I don't need them to make a shitty movie to, I hear
I'm excited for Black Adam though. That's another one I think is going to be a really, really great. We're getting the JSA. I am so stoked to see Dr. Fate on screen.
Yeah, Pierce Brosnan is Dr. Fate.
Dude, I cannot wait. It's a character I've loved for so long. Really didn't know too much about him, but always liked him, and then picked up some of the books and the JSA stuff, and I was like, wow, this guy's amazing.
And I will say I really enjoy what they're doing with like the Shazam universe.
I love Shazam. I love Shazam.
As much as I do gripe that it's very Marvel-esque, and I know that's the character, it is the most accurate DC movie that I've probably seen besides Zack Snyder stuff.
I mean, I made fun of Peacemaker.
Right.
Because it really is a joke. Like you're gonna talk to me. So someone like put up a post and it was like how it started and it had 2005's Batman Begins. and then it said how it's going, and it was just like Peacemaker standing there like, and it was just like, come on, man.
Yeah.
See where we've gone here?
And I mean, that's the other thing too. I read an article that James Gunn said WB gave him permission to kill any DC character he wanted for Suicide Squad, and I was like, I know that's the storyline, but I don't know if I want to go full joke about it.
Yeah.
Let's go killing about a bunch of characters in a funny way like that, like James' style is.
Yeah.
But
I don't know, man. It's gonna be my thoughts on the Suicide Squad. Here's my no holds barred response to this: is I am.
Make yourself big. I want to hear it. Go off. I want to.
Oh, okay. How do I? I don't even
Look at the screen. Go off. Go. I want to hear this. No holds bar.
Okay. Am I big now? Yeah, I'm big now. Let me lean into it. Dude, tell your neighbors to stop cutting their grass at 8 a.m.
I know. I know.
I can hear it still.
I know.
Here, I'm gonna mute you for a sec.
Yeah, I got it.
All right. The Suicide Squad, and my honest thoughts and opinions about it. I enjoy James Gunn as a director. I enjoy his work. I enjoy maybe not his personal views. I do enjoy what he does with characters. However, I do not think a property such as The Suicide Squad, especially after the controversy that came with what David Ayer had to go through and how his film was treated, to have James Gunn come out and say, oh, wow, they gave me all this freedom and they gave me all this stuff and they gave me, the ability to do this and that and that. Like, that is such a slap in the face to David, because not 4 or 5 years ago, 2016, not so long ago, they took a film with almost the same name, with most of the same characters, and they chopped it up, asked a trailer company to slap it back together, and in no way, shape, or form resembled the director's vision. So for 5 years later, now, that's not a long time. And I get we learn lessons and we grow as individuals and as a film studio, but that is kind of a slap in the face. And then to be promoting it, I think the first trailer I saw, from the horribly beautiful mind of James Gunn. You know what they're referring to, right? Is how he got fired from Marvel. That's like a jab. Like, look who we hired. And then they hired him back, right? The horribly beautiful mind. The guy who will say things and get canceled on Twitter, but then rehired. So I don't know if I like where Warner Brothers is going with it. I like James as a creator. I would love to talk to James. I think he's a brilliant director. I love what he's done with Guardians. Or at least how he brought the characters to the forefront of the Marvel Universe, where now they're household names. I think that's a very daunting task, and he was able to do it successfully. But I think he's more of a Marvel director than a DC director. And I really, really am not looking forward to any blood sport jokes or Peacemaker jokes. Like, I'm not looking forward to them. I know I'll kind of laugh here and there. But listen, as far as like my list of DC movies where I'm thinking like The Suicide Squad has got to be on the bottom of that list. Yeah, it looks fun, but it's not something that I'm like, oh, I can't wait. Like, I can wait, and I could have waited for you to at least let David Ayer forget or move on. 5 years is a long time. I get that, but really too soon, man. Too soon.
That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. And I couldn't agree more. Yeah, like you said, loved him as a creator. Not looking forward to what he's going to do to the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, sadly, it's I don't know what else to say, dude. I don't know what else to, like. I'm excited for any DC film, right? I like DC films. You know why I like DC films, though? Is because they're dark and they're gritty and they're not Marvel movies. So I don't want to go to the movies. I like Shazam, but I think Shazam was done tastefully.
Yeah, and it was done. It felt very comic book accurate too. He's a kid that turns into a super. the circumstances of that
like
are
naturally that
right.
is like
very
light,
Marvel-esque. Exactly.
very light. So to take the Suicide Squad, which are like the worst of the worst villains, and try to make them do something good, right? You're going to have these really, you could have these really dark and twisted moments, but no, we're just going to make them throw polka dots.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
and you know what the sad thing is? The sad thing is it'll probably be the highest rated DC film of all time.
Yep. 100%.
By
I
critics.
agree with you.
By critics. Yep. That's the way it's going to go.
You're probably right.
You know, so yeah, you can make comparisons about every single one of the characters. Peacemaker is Drax. King Shark is Groot.
I was going to say King Shark would be Drax. Peacemaker, I guess, is a R-rated Star-Lord.
I would say Bloodsport is Star-Lord.
Yeah, I guess.
But again, we could do this all day.
Right.
Do this all day is compare and contrast. That's because of the similarities. And don't get me wrong, there's always going to be similarities, right?
Yeah,
it's the same guy. They brought him on specifically because he did a good job of Guardians.
Exactly. But like Cracker said, people buy Marvel Comics for its themes and DC Comics for their own things. Making one copy, there's this ridiculous idea, and now they're thinking like that for every franchise. Exactly.
Yep.
That. And a part of me likes to, like Zack's idea, for these films were unlike Marvel. They were, Marvel's going to go for the next 20 years. They're gonna draw this thing out, and I kind of like the idea that Zack, over the course of maybe 10 years, but it would have a conclusion. There would be a final, Batman sacrifices himself and all of that, and there is this overall conclusion. There's a complete arc, Yeah,
one of the smartest things I've ever heard Justice say. Here it is. I'll tell you. Let me get big again. Let me get big again. One of the smartest things I've ever heard Justice say was that at least when Zack was at the helm of DC, you knew damn well what you were getting, or at least the tone, and like you had an anticipation of what you were walking into the theater. Now, not so much. Everything's all over the place. We're copying this. We're copying that. We're doing this. We're making things funny. At least when Zack was attached to the DCEU, and then we had the Marvel, we had the yin, and we had the yang with Zack Snyder's darker DCEU. And say what you want about it, they were both good in their own respective ways. People liked this and people liked that. And we, obviously there's different fan rivalries, and I find it to be petty, but I like both. So for me, it was the perfect mix.
It was for me as well.
Yeah, because listen, when Zack was at the helm, I walked into Man of Steel, I walked into BVS, and I walked into Justice League. 2021 Justice League. I knew what I was getting myself into. I wasn't like, oh, is this going to be funny? Is this going to be like, I knew it's a Zack Snyder film and it's a Zack Snyder DCEU. So I know what I'm getting and I know what I'm paying for, and I know I'm paying for something that I want.
Yep. Exactly.
And thus we got the yang, right? But now we don't know. Is Andy Muschietti going to turn it into a joke? He did. He
turned chapter 2 into a joke. That's sure.
And I actually thought that I liked them both, honestly.
The first one is a significantly better film, for sure.
Yes, for sure. But and then we have James Gunn coming in, and then we have Black Adam, which I think is going to be a very serious film. So it's like where are we going here? What's the direction? So,
I mean, that's the thing. Even with, you think about Marvel's most
I'm about to just I'm just going to go back to CW. At least they're consistent. At least they're fucking consistent.
And see, I never even started with CW, but I might have to, because I need some love and care for these characters.
God, man.
I mean, I'll be honest. The one thing that I held back from the CW for a long time because I couldn't deal with the CGI. but I know it did progress through the
Listen,
years.
that's the thing is Supernatural is my favorite show of all time, right?
Right.
And that was on the CW. Well,
Yeah.
it was technically there way before the CW existed. It was there when it was Warner Brothers channel, the WB.
Right.
But I mean, that's the where it came from. That's the type of show it is. So like for me, back in the day, not back in the day, but back then, like when Arrow, The Flash, and Legends were the only three, right. I had Arrow, I had Flash, I had Legends, and I had Supernatural. That was 4 out of the 7 days a week. I had something to watch every night, and I enjoyed myself. Yeah, The Flash had some pretty touch and go CGI, but season 1 of The Flash was one of the best series, one of the best seasons of public television that I've ever seen. Like, it was so fun. It was so fun. Arrow, seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4. Actually, arguably, up until the last season, I had a good time watching Arrow. I think the Crisis crossover really like.
I saw parts of that.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Bring Kevin Conroy in as the real life Batman.
It was just so weird. It was like you tried to do way too much. Like you should have stayed away from that altogether.
Also, like, John Cryer's Lex meeting Smallville Soup was really weird.
Yeah. It was just a really like all over the place kind of deal. But those crossovers started really innocent with just Arrow and Flash. And those were the best shows. Those were the best episodes, right? And then what happens with a studio? You get greedy. And you want to go bigger each time, right?
Have you seen Superman and Lois at all?
No, I refuse. Honestly, I can't.
Oh, why?
First off, I don't like his Superman at all.
Okay.
And I dislike her on a such hardcore basis. It's her forehead, man. Like everything about her look. No. It's not like, I'm not saying she's an ugly girl. I'm saying it's like we have Amy Adams as Lois Lane, and then we have this woman, and she just doesn't even compare. And I'm looking at her, and I'm like, I just can't see Lois Lane in her. I can't.
I really haven't seen much of a Superman to make a decision, but like from the trailers and stuff, I almost got interested because it did have kind of a Snyder feel to I don't know if you've seen the trailer.
I did.
It had a little bit of that Snyder tone.
Nope. Find the first trailer that came out. Find the first little teaser trailer that came out and tell me you would watch something with that. Hold on, let me find it. Dude, it is the worst looking piece of film that I've ever seen. Oh, dude, if anyone has that first teaser that came out, and it looked like something that came out before Smallville.
Teaser.
They might have taken it down. That's how bad it was.
That's how bad it was. The only teaser I've seen, let's see, from February, but that's trailer 2.
Yeah, dude, I have a feeling they took it down because it was that bad, dude. I'm not joking. Like it was pretty rough to watch. It just looked like it's not here anymore. Yeah, I'll find it eventually. But it was rough to watch, man. Dude, it had like Superman's face superimposing, like fading into the screen, just his head. And it looked like it was made when Smallville was made. It was that bad. And then the second trailer that came out for Superman and Lois, it changed so drastically, and it looked like a Snyder film. And okay, that was cool. But that's not the first thing I saw. The first thing I saw was this terrible thing that they pushed out. But yeah, man, so that's all the time. That's all the time we got today. I had a great time though. How about you?
That was fun, man. Fun interview.
Yep.
Hopefully he'll be back.
Oh no, he'll definitely be back. He's a good guy. So I can't wait. But tomorrow we won't be doing this show. But we have something coming. So just look out on Twitter and we might announced or something. I don't know. I do know. Consider becoming a Patreon, guys. Only $5 a month. We're trying to get to number 10 for Patreons. It's only $5 a month. It's really not too much, and it helps support the show more than you know. You guys are the lifeblood. Again, huge shout out to these guys and gals, if there's any. I don't think there's any. No, there's no gals there. Or whatever you identify as, I suppose. But these people are the greatest. And all of you guys are the greatest as well. And we really appreciate everyone. Make sure you get in the conversation by commenting, and then you like, share, and subscribe to the show to support. Again, become a Patreon. It really helps out more than you know in so many different aspects. Final thoughts are: I had a great day. Happy Thursday, guys. Get out, have a great day, smile, do something nice for someone, and say that you did it because the Pop Culture Corner. And together we'll all live a happy life together for the rest of our lives.
Right.
We'll be doing this every morning for the rest. No, I'm just kidding.
Until
every day,
die. Literally
for the rest of our lives.
That's right. That's right. And guys, come back this afternoon for Ty's Corner with me and Jack.
Oh yeah, see, I forget about it because I'm not even in it.
Just kidding. I know. We got. Can you at least make a cameo in Ty's Corner? Is that
listen? I proposed a name change, and he said no.
Okay.
So I already tried getting that done, and Jack was like, no, we got to keep it the same name. I was like, okay, it just looks kind of weird, don't you think?
I mean, but it is kind of funny that the underlying joke is you never show up to Ty's Corner.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, show up. What is it? 5:45 because it's Thursday.
That's right.
5:45, guys. TY's Corner. I'll show up.
She's like, I'll come.
I'll show up.
Gosh, you guys.
Take care, everybody. Smile. Keep being you. Don't compromise for anybody. Restore the Snyderverse. And follow us on Instagram for some cool updates. I'll be doing those daily while I can. So we do it for you. We do it for the culture. Till next time, baby. We are brought to you today by Kai CBD, a Las Vegas-based health and wellness brand that crafts a full-spectrum CBD hemp-derived product line. Made with 100% love, the brand was created by a 20-year licensed massage therapist for her husband who suffers from chronic pain. Healing is what Kai lives for. Head over to their Facebook or Instagram and mention Pop Culture Corner to receive 10% off your order of all or any of their CBD-derived product line. Guys, their website is in the works. Head over to their Facebook or Instagram. The links are in the description below. Mention Pop Culture Corner and get 10% off. This ad is an easy one for me. Easy, as I use the products myself. They are wonderful. So head over, mention Pop Culture Corner, and get 10% off your order of all orders forever. We are brought to you today by Bonk's Bar in Philadelphia. Bonk specializes in seafood and good times. If you're in the Philly area, make sure to stop by, and on Tuesdays, our resident producer Jack hosts trivia at the bar. Mention Pop Culture Corner to Jack and receive your first drink on the house. For more information about the menu or specials, visit the website for Bonks or their social media pages. All of the links are in the description below. This was an easy one, guys. Head out, support your local service industry. Go to Bonks, grab some seafood, some beer and wine, play some trivia, and have a good time.